All right, hello again, everybody. I am plugging my headset on, and I'm setting it off to the side so it can charge. There we go. Turning it off because I don't need a headset. Talking to you guys. All right, so hello again, everybody. This is Derek, aka Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and Miniature live stream. We've got Wargaming Wednesday, which I try to do. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it is Wednesday, but Wargaming Weekly. I changed the name to Wargaming Weekly. And I try to do this weekly. Sometimes I miss a beat. All right. So I got some 15 millimeter vehicles out here. I just grabbed a selection of my vehicles that were on the shelf waiting to be painted. And I said, you know what, let's just go ahead and knock these out. Now, as you know, I play a game called Battle Group. And I went through all my printed scenarios because also you probably know that I prefer to play scenarios as opposed to point-based games because I feel like I'm reenacting history and not playing a tournament. You know what I mean? So I personally prefer scenarios. So I went through all my campaign books that I like to play, which is all the Western Front ones, you know, like Operation Market Garden, the two Normandy books, the Wacht am Rhein, Battle of the Bulge. Yeah, so out of those 4 books, I did this a while ago, like 6 months ago. I went through every scenario, counted up all the troops or all the vehicles that were each of, and I made a spreadsheet. I'm a spreadsheet freak, so I made a spreadsheet with all the different vehicles that are in all those scenarios and how many of them of each one would I need. Okay. I realized right away that there were some vehicles that all I needed was one of them. Like, I just need one of these vehicles. I just need 2 of these vehicles. Now, there are some vehicles, like the Sherman, I needed something like 10 of them. And now, I'm not counting 3 from scenario 1, 3 from scenario 2, and 4 from scenario 5, counting that up as 10. No, because in that case, I would say to myself, I only need 4 Shermans because it had the largest number of that vehicle. Because that's pretty much what I did. I said, okay, if one scenario only needs 3, and then every other scenario only needs 2, then all I need is 3 to be able to cover all those scenarios. Okay, hopefully you understood that. So what I'm doing today is, or I should say, the way most 15 millimeter vehicles are presented or sold is in either like Old Glory, like these bad boys right here. Those are sold in packs of 3. And then there's the War Games Pumas. These are sold in packs of 4, a box of 4. Like this Jagdpanzer 4 was sold in a pack of 3, right? So what I wound up doing, or what I'm planning on doing, This is what I'm doing right now. This is what we're doing today. I did get started on these last night, or I should say all day yesterday. I did all the assembly, put all the little crew members in the vehicles. I primed it. I primed this with desert yellow, and then I primed these with Panzer gray, which kind of looks black. You know, it looks too black for me. So what I plan to do here is I'm going to use this dungeon gray to highlight, dry brush, not highlight really, but mainly dry brush highlights on this Panzer gray. Because I think personally that the Panzer gray is too bright. Now what this will do is it'll bring out the edges, right? And it'll lighten the vehicle up just enough to make it like not as dark. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know, you might not be able to see that on camera, but comparatively, you might be able to see how that's a little bit lighter on the spectrum. And I don't want it to be a drastic change. I just want it to be just enough to have a little bit of a change. And that's what I'm going to do on all these. So what I did was, or what I'm doing, I should say, is I split these into 3 categories. Because of packs of 3, good division, pack of 3, split it up into 3 categories. One of them is going to be all gray. That's these Panzer gray looking ones. Yeah, that looks good. I'm happy with that. That gray is a lot better than this gray. Okay, so one set's going to be gray. And then one set, that's this far left set, is going to be the Dunkelgelb, or whatever they call it. Dunkelgelb. What is that, dark gold? That's what Dunkelgelb means. That's going to be these guys. And then this set down the middle is going to be a 3-color camouflage. And that would be all of these models. And then what I'll do is I'll compare, once I finish them, what I'll do is I'll compare the finished models to my spreadsheet, and I will cherry pick the ones I need for my collection, and then all the other ones will go for sale up on eBay. And I'm anticipating finishing these today, tomorrow at the latest. So if you're looking for some 15 millimeter Pumas or 234-1s, -2s, if you're looking for some Maltiers, Panzer IVs, Jagdpanzer IV, that is. I got some 222s, I believe that's what that is. The scout car. Or is it a light tank? I think it's a scout car. Scout car. It's got wheels. I even have a -3 and a -4, but I don't think I'll be selling those. Just because they're unique. I'll have them in my collection. All right. Those guys look pretty good. That's right, they look good. So this isn't like super complicated, right? This is just dry brushing, making the gray, lighten it up, but also accentuate the edges. And by accentuating the edges, what you're doing is I'm lightening the entire tone of the vehicle, but you're also bringing out all the details, and I don't care if I get it on the canvas top, because any dry brushing that I do, I usually don't mind going over my target, because whatever I'm going over onto, I plan to paint anyway. You know what I mean? Okay. You can see the difference with the shading and without the shading, you know? Now I spray prime this with Vallejo Panzer Gray, and then what I thought I would do is brush over it with a lighter gray, like what I'm doing now, but just a full coat to lighten it down. So I pulled out Vallejo German Gray. It's the same color. I mean, this is German Gray, and that's exactly what the Panzer Gray spray is. There's like there wasn't enough of a difference to bring out the details or to lighten it up. It was still too dark. So now we're doing the Dungeon Gray, which I don't know what that is down the street. I'm hearing craziness. I don't know if you heard it. It sounded like somebody blowing an air horn. I own an air horn. It's out in the garage with my bullhorn that I bought a number of years ago to when I was running an airsoft event at a local airsoft field. I realized that if I had a bullhorn, it would be so much easier to talk to everybody, you know, because the event site didn't provide anything other than the field. and the buildings and stuff that were on the site. They didn't provide like refreshments or anything. So, and I didn't provide refreshments either. I expected everybody to bring their own water and snacks or whatever. And I put that in the flyer too. I said, you know, nothing's going to be on the site. Bring your own snacks. And it was a World War II event. So I made it clear that if you wanted to participate in this airsoft event, you had to be in a World War II uniform. And I even gave, and I'm not a stitch Nazi. So if somebody came in there with a button down shirt, and that's what I said too. I said, if you've got some green slacks and you want to just tuck them into your boot and then maybe a button down shirt, I won't cry about it. Because not everybody's a World War II reenactor, you know. And if you've got a World War II airsoft gun, that would be best. And like personally, I've got a Thompson, but this guy showed up with a MG42, and I was like, oh my god, it looks so cool, and it works because it was like full auto and everything. It was an MG42 airsoft gun. I mean, I've seen the saw and I've seen the modern machine guns. Yeah, just threw that vehicle all halfway across the table there. Yeah, I've seen all the modern vehicles or modern guns, but I never saw a World War II machine gun in the airsoft world. But you know what? I don't do that anymore. I still have all my gear and all my stuff. I just haven't done it in a couple of years. Well, shoot, let's back up. I haven't done it since I moved into this new house. Ever since we moved to this house, I haven't been to any fields. I still have my Thompson though. I actually have an M4 as well, and okay. All of these are done. All right. See, I knew it wasn't going to take forever. Now, I already did these guys with a solid coat of Dunkelgelb, right? I think I want to highlight. The ones that are going to be pure Dunkelgelb, which is these guys over here. I was thinking like a really light, a really light tan. You know, I don't know if light earth would look good on that. I don't know. I don't think so. Got another one. I mean, I got pale sand. I've got dark sand. I don't know. I want it to be more. I want it to have a little bit more brown in it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be brown, but I want it to have a little bit more brown. I thought light earth might work. Skeleton. Actually, skeleton might actually be a good color for that. I don't know. Too light. khaki. I don't know. It's 2 brown, I think. Now I've got Africa Core Highlight. It's Tank Crew Highlight, but we're going to test it. Yeah, see, there's a little bit of a color change. This is the highlight. Yeah, I got off on a little tangent right there by talking about the bullhorn. Oh, that's because I heard the horn outside. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I was like, why was I talking about that? Okay, now looks like we're about 20 minutes in, right? Yeah, I have an announcement. If you're sticking it out with us and you're watching the video, or if you're watching this video sometime in the next day, what do we got? We got Frog in the Waves. Hey, cool. How you doing, man? It's hard to read with my binoculars here. These are my painting glasses, and they focus here, but not over there where the monitor is. Okay, we're gonna give it a test on this guy right here. We're gonna see. Yes, this is gonna work. Oh man, this is great. This is freaking outstanding. Ooh, maybe not. It might be just a little bit too... Well, I just want to bring out some details. I am going to wash over these with like a brown wash to also bring out the details. So you're going to have a base coat, a dry brush, and a wash. And then I might even go back over it with a little touch up. Probably not. But just in case, maybe. And I'm doing the dry brushing now because when I start doing other parts of the vehicle, I don't want to later go back in and dry brush. Yeah, this looks good. Oh, my announcement. Yeah, you almost let me get away without announcing anything. Okay, as you know, I've got my eBay store, right? And there's a sale going on right now. So if you've already been shopping on my store, or if you subscribe to my eBay store, then you will already know this because I sent out a newsletter saying that we had a sale. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, or if you've never bought anything on my channel in the last year, it does say within the last 365 days. If you haven't bought anything on my channel in over a year, on my store, then you might not have got this message, but I got 10% off everything that's not an auction, which is 90% of my store is buy it now. I have a few auction items, but the promotion won't let me put this type of promotion, the one I'm actually doing, wouldn't let me put it on auctions, which is, I guess, is fine. But the promotion is 10% off if you spend $50 or more. Well, let me let you know, everybody spends over $50. Sometimes just one item is over $50, but usually people get on there and they'll buy 2 or 3 boxes of this or that, and it'll wind up being like $60 or $70. And so if you're inclined to spend $50 or more, you will get 10% off. For the next 3 weeks. The 20th is when that sale ends. Now, I'm unfamiliar with eBay's marketing buttons, plus they're adding new ones all the time. So I thought I would give it a shot to learn, to kind of figure out how it works. And my first sale was a mistake. It gave everyone 10% off, and that's okay. It doesn't bother me, but that's not the promotion I wanted to run. So I had to go in and edit it. I had to edit it back to only being active for 2 days. Which today was the last day. So, but the other promotion is still going on. It's 10% off if you spend $50 or more on non-auction items. All right, now having said that, I added a bunch of stuff over the last 3 days. Yeah, I added those Prussians that you saw me working on 2 months ago, 4 months ago, whatever it was, that I was waiting for these flags to arrive before I finished them. Well, the flags arrived. Not only did my flags of war flags arrived, but my GMB flags arrived within a day apart. And as soon as those flags arrived, I went ahead and started working on the Prussian units, and since they were almost already finished anyway, it only took me like a day and a half to finish them. And before I got a chance to finish them, the second set of flags arrived. So I got not only my flags of war, but my GMB. And that was more flags than I ordered more, too many flags. Let's just say that. because the Prussian battalions carried one flag. A couple of the battalions that I put on the store have two standard bearers. So I went ahead and put the 1st Battalion flag and the 2nd Battalion flag on in the unit. And I deliberately put them on two separate bases in case you wanted to use it as a command stand for some other Prussian battalion. That way you could spread the love or whatever. But if you wanted to, you could just put them together in the same battalion, and I'm sure nobody would cry about it. And what that meant was, because I didn't realize this when I was ordering the flags, that means I basically had twice as many flags as I needed, because they come with two on a page and all I needed was one. And then I also got the GMB and the flags of war, which means they doubled again. Oh, there he goes. Okay. He's disappeared. Ah, okay. It was under my foot. All right, all right. Maybe I should hold on to it a little bit better. I understand. Dry brushing can be a little violent. Okay. Now I'm not going to dry brush these guys until after I paint the camouflage. And when I do dry brush it, I'm probably going to be using Dunkelgelb. It'll give it an airbrushed look. So I added some. So what I'm saying is, it took me a second to get around to it. I put those flags on the website as well. So if you're interested in some Prussian flags, they're up there. I also had a Hessian flag that I had in my collection that I forgot about. So I went ahead and added it on there as well. Okay. So far, so good. I also added, well, let me rephrase that. I also received a Warlord Games package. Which promptly went on the store. I opened the SS Army box. So that I could put those pieces together and paint them and sell them as well. And finally, in the 15mm world, in addition to this, I have a bunch of Zvezda models, the 1/100 scale models that they make. I posted them as well. I bought those like maybe 6 months ago, maybe even longer than that. Um, to just supplement my miniature collection, personal miniature collection. You know, like I got a Brumbar and a King Tiger and a Stug 3 Bravo, you know, some pretty much some Russian front stuff, it seems like. But I picked them up thinking that I was going to put them together and put them in my collection. But then when I went through all those scenarios, uh, none of those vehicles are in any of those scenarios. So I debated for the last 6 months on whether or not I was going to keep them and just add them to my collection, or if I was going to sell them. And last night I said, you know what? I can sell them now, and if I need them, I can always buy them again later down the line. Because they're pretty cheap. They're only like $7 or $8. So there was no problem. Okay, now these war games, Battlefront, I should say. These Battlefront plastic models, I noticed, are just a little bit better detail. First of all, they're plastic. So they're just a little bit better detail than my Old Glory metal Pumas. And they're also just a little bit bigger. Size comparison is not exactly the same. So either these are heroic scale, or the Old Glories might be 20, I want to say 25 millimeter, but that's not right. 12. They're probably closer to 13.5 or whatever that scale is that nobody uses. Because see, like, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the plastic Flames of War model, and this is the Old Glory model, and you can see there's quite a bit of difference. I mean, on the table you'd never notice the difference, but sitting on my shelf, I noticed the difference. These also have magnets put down in there, so you could just plop that guy on and he will be magnetized. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is the other magnetized one. So that's one thing. Those sets give you 3 different vehicles you can make. This is one of them. This is Dash 3, I think, which has got the short 75 on it. Plus, they give you crew members. Jerry can accessories. They just give you a lot more. So the Flames of War models are definitely superior, but they're also more expensive. But like you say, you do get what you pay for. Okay. That is all of the. I did that one first. Yeah, that should be all of these. Okay. Next is going to be the camouflage patterns. But I'm going to have to say I'm going to be back in just a minute. Got to take a 10-minute break. I'll be right back to start the camo. Oh, wait, we got another comment where Lead Craig says, hey there, long-time lurker. Good to see some German vehicles back on the table. All right. Yeah. The protagonist. Okay, I'm coming back. It's been less than 10 minutes. Hopefully I didn't count it, but got my Sandman jacket on. Okay, let's get rid of that announcement. Boop, there we go. I am back. Empty tea cup. Okay. All right, here we go. We're going to start some camouflage. Right, we're going to do, going to make some room. I think I'm going to just go ahead and use the same brush. I don't think there's any need to switch it up. Okay, perfect. Right. Yeah. Okay, what I'm thinking is I might want to OD green, or not OD, but field gray the crew before I do the camouflage. Or I might want to camouflage before, because they're going to overlap, right? They're going to touch each other. I'm going to do field gray. Yeah, I'm going to do field gray. And because of that, I might have to use a smaller brush. I was excited to get into the camouflage pattern, but oh well. Can't be too excited. Got to make sure do it right. Got me a matte medium. Boop. Okay. Now I painted those Prussians, right? And I coated them with this Mecha matte varnish because I like it. But I thinned it down a little bit with this ultra matte. Like it's not a 50-50, it's probably a 20-80. But it thinned it down instead of using water, which actually is not a thinner, it's more like a diluter. Anyway, speaking of which, water. Okay. Which brush? Okay, this one looks good. Okay, so all the figures in the Kubel wagons, the swim wagons, and the Pumas and stuff are getting a coat of field gray. Okay, that is way too thick. Okay, maybe not way too thick, but thick enough I needed to thin it down just a little bit. Yep, that's good. Looks like it flows, but it's also pretty heavy. Oh, what the hell? Where'd that paint come from? Must accidentally put my finger in there or something. I don't know how that paint got there. Got a lot of paint on my fingers from last night. And on the gray ones here, I got to be careful because I'm not painting. I don't want to paint, I should say. The skin of the vehicle. Okay, there's no flesh on those guys. Now, how did that paint get there? Yeah, I don't know how I got there. Craziness. I mean, the figure does have, like, flesh, but I'll hit those with the fine tooth comb later. I'm just giving the figure a base coat of field gray. Now, Old Glory sells a pack of like Jeep Crew and this is a German soft skin vehicle crew. And it had just enough drivers to cover the Kubel wagons and the swim wagons, which is 10. They got 6 Kubel wagons and 4 swim wagons. And I can tell you, I'm not going to need that many. I'm not going to need that many. So some of those are for sale. I know that for a fact. Same thing with my Jeeps. I think I only need 3 Jeeps. And the pack's okay. What's going on here? Okay. And I wasn't sure how many guys I wanted to put in the Kubel wagons and the swim wagons, so my default was 2 figures. Either 2 guys in the front seats or a guy in the front and a guy in the back. An officer type is sitting in the back. Okay, this is going to have to be 2 coats because it looks like it doesn't want to adhere. Okay, that looks like it's going to have to be 2 coats. And their crew don't fit into the Kubel wagons. They definitely don't fit inside the cab of the Malteers. Because I did try, before I put the cab top on, I tried fitting them down into the cab. And they were just too tall. Their heads prevented the cab from closing. That's why the Malteers don't have any crew. But like the Kubel wagons and the swim wagons, they wouldn't fit in those either because they give you their full legs. And these vehicles are not made for a full figure. So you got to cut off their boots to get them to fit in there. Which is fine, but just so you know. And they give you like 50 models, but only 10 of them have steering wheels in their hand. There's about 10 guys with steering wheels. There's about 10 officers in a couple of different poses. There's about 10 NCOs in a couple of different poses. And then some guys holding their rifles in between their legs. Some of the drivers have soft caps, like the one I'm doing right now. And some of them have helmets. I considered, and then immediately decided against it, but I considered doing some of these Kuba wagons as if it was the Africa Corps. But their uniforms don't really, none of the soft skin, either passengers or drivers, looked like they were Africa Corps. I mean, nobody had the knickerbockers or the right type of jacket or anything, so I just said, nah. I'll make them West Front because that's what I play. And like I said, I was going to cherry pick some of the vehicles out when they're done to go into my collection. And so to be able to do that, they'd all have to be European. Like, I'm painting their helmets. Like, this guy's got a helmet. I'm painting it field gray. What I normally don't do that. I normally paint it like Waffen gray, Waffen green. But I can always go back over his helmet. That is like the least of my worries. Because when I do the skin, then I usually go back and do helmets. That's normally my pattern, is a jacket, skin, and then the helmet. Okay. We're getting there. Now, like this Kuba wagon only has one guy in it. Because I wanted to do like a little bit of a mixture. And like this guy's got a guy sitting in the back seat with his rifle at port arms, like it's sticking up over his head. Or one of those other guys had his rifle down between his legs. Have you guys been watching? There's a TV show called Special Forces, I think is what it's called. And they take 16 celebrities and put them through 10 days of boot camp. And I'm looking back at my personal boot camp. If my boot camp was as easy as this boot camp, man. I understand they're celebrities. They're not, they're also older. Some of them are older. I get that. But all they're doing is like holding their breath underwater for a minute and a half. Or jumping out of a helicopter into the water and swimming. Or rappelling off of a mountainside. Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, wow, I wish I had it that easy. And they're only doing it for 10 days. And every single day, one or two of them quit. They're down to 4, and it's the 10th day. I don't want to spoil it, but I like it. I like the show because, well, I like reality shows in general, like Survivor and The Challenge and even Big Brother. I even like that. Because not because the challenges are hard, because some of them are, but I like to see how people interact with people when they're put under any kind of stress. You get that, I get that watching from the sidelines enjoyment. I live vicariously through them. Okay, this is the guy holding his weapon in his lap. There was one or two of them that had the MP40s, but I don't know if I used any of them. Oh yeah, I had to have. Wait a second. Yeah, there's one right there. Because I tried to use a variety of figures and not just use the same ones over and over. Okay. Bumpity bump, bump, bump. Okay, I see a big comment. I can't read it just yet. Let me get these field gray uniforms done, and then I'll jump up on that comment. I see it's a big one. That's what she said. Yeah, over the next month, my wife is going to be away from the house more than she's at the house. Like right now, she left today to go visit her grandchildren, which it's only about a 6-hour drive, so um, her her son is in the Air Force and he's deployed. You know, this guy I think I would like to use black, not the like a black uniform on this guy, just because this seems like it's be appropriate. He only has his head sticking up out of the hatch. Yeah, so she's going to go there for a week. She said she'd be back next Wednesday or so. And then that Sunday, she's going down to Alabama. I think it's Alabama. Coleman, maybe? Coleman, Alabama. To go to an SCA event called Gulf Wars, which lasts for a week. Now, she's having to do that event because she's in the entourage of the king. So when the king is going to an event, she's supposed to go to that event as well. And it's not like it's not like she wasn't going to go anyway. But now she has like this obligation to go. And so she'll be gone a week. Mid-March. So The Mandalorian should be coming on today. Right? The new series of The Mandalorian. Okay, so those guys painted no problem. These guys didn't. Now, the plastic kits are desert yellow, and I primed them desert yellow. So maybe there was no primer on these little guys. I think there was. Okay, so that first coat was just basically a brush primer because now everything's going on just fine. Yerp. So I've got this guy that I do a lot of work for. And I've done a lot of 25 millimeter work for him. And he said, "Oh, you're that guy on the internet." Like he's been commissioning me and not putting two and two together that I have a YouTube channel. And he says, "Oh, you're that guy. I need some 15 millimeter guys painted too." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Come on." But he didn't he said he needed some early and late war Germans. But he didn't really go into specifics because there are a lot of 15 millimeter rule sets out there. And I didn't know if he was playing Flames of War, or if he was like me and playing Battle Group, or is he playing like Spearhead, or Test of Battle, or Battlefront. Yeah, there's so many 15 millimeters. Did I paint those guys? Hard to tell. Which is good. I mean, the black kind of disguises mistakes or whatever. Not that I make any, because I never make mistakes. I'm perfect in every way. I'm actually the most humble person I've ever met. Okay, I'm satisfied. I can always go back later and touch up the field gray. But that was like the only reason why I had field gray out here. Let's go put that up. Okay, comment. It's Craig again. He says, I found painting Germans in European colors is a lot more versatile than Afrika Korps. At least you can use a Western theater vehicle for the Eastern theater. Desert scheme is stuck in the desert. Hey man, you're preaching. Or should I say, you're based. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, dude. Yeah, because, okay, like that guy right there, right? I don't know if you can see that. He can be used east, west, or desert. So, now, Pacific Theater, maybe not so much. Okay. Right. Next pattern. Okay. Camouflage. Camouflagey. Okay, so the camouflagey, camo foliage. Okay, two of these are magnetized. That one. And that one. Right? I love, and that's another thing. Battlefront. You can magnetize them. Okay, so because I'm a crazy son of a bitch and I like experimenting and I don't care if I mess up, I'm going to actually put this German olive green in with my field gray. You're saying, Mr. Everything, what are you doing? Are you crazy? The answer there would be yes. Okay. Putting a little bit of water. I don't want it to be, okay, now we're going back to the big brush. Where are we? These are not big. Not really dry. Okay, I think this brush would be great. Okay. So we're going to mix the olive, which is going to dominate the field gray. I mean, they're so close anyway, but the olive green just dominates. I just didn't want to waste any of that field gray. Okay. And then the camel pattern we're going to use, here I'll demonstrate on this big boy. The camel pattern is going to be a 3-color pattern. I'm going to make green blotches, but they're not going to be round, right? They're going to be off. They're going to be a little bit off. They're going to be mostly round. I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but they're going to be mostly round, but irregular. And then I'm going to space them out where there's going to be an opportunity to use the brown between the greens, leaving the yellow in between. So you got to space them out enough that you can squeeze that brown in there as well. Now, one reason why I put a little bit more water than normal is because at that point the edges will be less defined. They will be blended, I think is the word. And I love to make a splotch go over edges and corners. Why is that, you say, Mr. Everything? Because that's how camouflage works. You want to disguise the shape of the vehicle so you take it to the edge. And you go over the edge. Now, I'm not going to do the wheels with any camouflage. Oh. I must not have gone over the edge with this one. There you go. Love it. The barrel. Right. I'm going to make a couple of large green areas on the barrel so that we can get the brown in between. All right. Now I'm going to do that on every one of these vehicles, even the Kuba wagons. I know I looked at some Kuba wagon pictures, and it looks like the green pattern that I'm using, the entire camel pattern is appropriate to the size of the vehicle, I've noticed. The bigger the vehicle, the bigger the pattern. So I just have to kind of take the size of the vehicle into consideration when making splotches. I don't know if you guys can hear my stomach, but it is, what's the word? Grumbling. I just ate. I just had some chili, actually. I ate because I wanted to eat before I started painting and not after. That looks good. Now I'm going to paint the canvas, so you can see I didn't paint it with the dry brush. So it's okay if I get some of this green or brown on the canvas. Because I'm still going to paint that. Now I know this is a opal multier, um, and one way you can tell is by in the center of the cab, on the top of the cab roof, there's a little triangle. The opal had the triangle right there. The shoot, what was the other brand? It's not Mercedes? Might have been. Might have been Mercedes. What was the other opal brand? Make that just a little bit bigger. This isn't hard, this is just meticulous. Yeah, that might have been a little close, but that's okay. That just means the brown will be a little thin right there. Now I'm painting the camouflage, of course, before I paint any of the gear, you know, the axes and shovels and stuff. And I don't concern myself with, I did when I was younger. When I was 18, 20, 25 years old, when I painted my armored vehicles back then, I would concern myself with matching the turret to the hull. Like I would make sure that the green that I was putting on the hull, if I had a turret there, would match up with it and they would blend together. Not a concern anymore. Don't worry about that anymore. Okay. Hard just holding the wheels. Now when the paint goes on directly like this, you won't see the blending effect until it starts to dry. When it starts to dry, you'll see how the edge of the paint, the green against the desert, will fade. They'll almost look like they blend in together. Almost. I don't know if you can see it on this one. Pretty pronounced on that guy right there. All right. Plastic one. Let's see what kind of trouble I can get you in. Here we go. Now, I've done camo patterns, stripes and snow, and, or I should say, you know, like the white and gray. I've done, what is it, ambush pattern. That's a fun one. Ambush pattern is definitely fun. It's actually one of my favorites. But yeah, I've done a lot of camo patterns. Not so much on the Americans or even the British or the Russians. It's almost always Germans. The British have their color of green, the Americans have their color of green, and the Russians have their color of green. And that's pretty much it for those guys. All right. We're going to start with this anti-tank gun. There's a lot of what do you call it? They're very tight, very close. And no two paint schemes were the same, mainly because of paint shortages, and it was up to the individual tank commander to know what theater of war he was fighting in, and they gave him suggestions and ideas and patterns to follow. That doesn't mean they were exactly the same. Every tank was different. Like, they would go to paint white on their tank. They would look in the paint can and they would see it was half empty because the tank commander to their left used all the paint, and his tank is like almost entirely white. But then when the paint came to your tank, you only had like half a paint can. So you added water and you spread it out, and it looks like it's a whitewash. So there you go. Two tanks, same platoon, different patterns. Okay. I'm going to make small spots. On this Kuba wagon. Probably should spread them out a little bit more. Now there was this one Kuba wagon I saw didn't have any green on it. It was all brown spots. I bet you that happened to that unit. Like, okay, we're going to be painting our tanks today in the pattern of the forest that we're in. So make sure you gather your paint cans and get to work. And then you get there, and then all of a sudden, there's no paint. Okay, guys, we have no green, and we only have a little bit of brown. So let's make it work. Spread it around. Like herpes. If you got them, might as well spread it around. Do you know where that came from? If not, it's okay. As you know, I'm a big gamer. Computer gamer, that is. I'm currently playing some Skyrim. If you guys dig some Skyrim, you should check out my channel. I'm playing it every day for like 2 hours. Usually late at night. It's not live, it's recorded. And the main reason why is because there's nudity. And because there's nudity, I have to edit that out. And there doesn't have to be nudity. I mean, I could turn that off, but I'm the worst kind of horn dog, so I leave it on. And having said that, there's a new game in the vein of, this guy. There's a new game in the vein of Skyrim coming out probably in June called Starfield. And I do plan to stream that. Or at least play it and upload it. Yeah, I'll probably not stream it. I don't know. I might stream the first couple of games, and then after that, play and record. Okay, I think we got all the green where I want all the green. I was thinking of jumping to canvas. I was thinking about jumping to canvas, but I'm not going to because that still needs brown. And I don't want to... Because I could do that one and that one, no problem. But I can't do that one or the canvas on the vehicles until the brown is done. So we might have to sit here for just a minute while that green dries enough for me to grab it without leaving fingerprints. do any of you guys play role-playing games, or have you ever played role-playing games, either face-to-face or online or any of that stuff? And second part to the question, if you have played role-playing games, have you ever played Arn? I don't think that's dark enough. Nope, that's... I'll let that drop. And if you have played Harn, what's your opinion of it? And the reason why I ask is because I'm currently playing D&D 5th edition with my bros, and we are in a Greek campaign where I'm running a Greek themed campaign, which it's going really good, but I need to paint these guys. Oh, I skipped these. Okay. Well, I can paint those while we wait. Because I'm thinking of switching it up a little bit. And not that I'm not loving the D&D game, because I am. I'm digging it a lot. Especially with the players. But I've been looking at this Harn campaign, this Harn campaign world. I've been looking at it for decades. Yes, decades. And I was wondering if I wanted to take the plunge and go in and get it and play it, run it. Okay, this is the metal one. Okay. It's not D&D. It can be. There's two concepts. There's the Harn world, which is a campaign world that can be used for any role-playing game. So if I wanted to play D&D and then just plop the players in the Harn universe, I could do that. Or I could play with their official rule set, which is called Harn Master, which is specifically designed to be used with that rule set. Okay, now this is okay. I think the wash will resolve that issue. Because it's like a textured netting or something like that on the top. It's like a metal fence grill or whatever. And I think the wash will enhance or accentuate those things. Okay. Excuse me. Last one. All right, I think that was enough to let the brown dry on some of these vehicles. Not the brown, the green. So I should be able to... All right. Oh, clogged? Yep. Okay, got my paper clip right here, and oop, not clogged anymore. Maybe it is. What the hell? I don't want it to come exploding out. Okay. Maybe I didn't dig deep enough. Okay. Try this again. There we go. Give it a drop. I'm thinning it again so that it will blend. Not with the green, but with the brown. Yeah, that's a good consistency. That was a great target number right there. Boom. Looking good. Okay. So now we want to put the brown close to the green on both sides, but not so close that you get rid of the yellow. And you want to make it consistent. You don't want to get too close in one area and too far from the others. It's an eyeball exercise, but but I have faith. Oh, hold on. Rush was starting to give me a little pain. Here we go. We're getting there. It's not hard. It's just monotonous. Okay, there's a little bit of green on the bottom, trying to avoid. Yeah, that actually looks really good. I'll probably get a little bit closer right there. There we go. And that's back to the something that just hit me just now. That 15 millimeter commission. Well, I haven't taken a commission yet. I don't know if he wants to send me figures, because that's what he normally does, is send me figures and then have me paint them for him. Or does he want me to pull some figures out of my own collection, you know, that I've got for sale or whatever? And the main question is, like I was saying, the rule system. But even the rule system, because like Battle Group, the game that I play, there's a couple of different ways you can base your figures. They can be based individually, or like Flames of War, you know, multiple figures on a single base. I mount on multiple figures on a single base because it makes it easier to move them around on the table. Okay, I can't go to the end because there's not really enough room. Yep, okay. Okay, so that's going to be the camel pattern of all the vehicles. See it. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Because guess what? It's hand painted in the field anyway. And they're trying to break up the silhouette, so they don't want it to be perfect. I'm getting paint on the tracks, which is perfectly fine because I haven't painted them yet. And then I deliberately paint it up high enough to hit the canvas to make sure I covered all the wood, or at least got to the edge of the wood, not all of the wood. Is that a spare tire? Well, if it is, I'm going to paint it black. Okay, so that Maltier got a little paint job. Yeah. I'm using a bigger pour bristle brush to give it that additional worn look on the paint. I'm not using like one of my fine tip brushes or anything. I'm actually using a fuzzy brush. And I'm deliberately kind of giving myself a little bit of a shake. Get kind of a, not that bad, but to give myself like a jagged look. Okay. And I did paint these probably just a little bit too close together. A little difficult to get the paint in between the greens. But I did. Got it. I'm getting it. I think I'm hearing the mailman. Not expecting any orders. Wait, am I expecting an order? Let me think about that. Maybe I am. No. Okay, I did open an account with Rubicon. So now I can actually order plastic kits from Rubicon. I'm not really sure if I want to, right, though. Let me rephrase it. I want to, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. Finances, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was telling my Warlord Games rep, there's so many good models out there, right? Different genres. Now I could focus on one genre, like World War II or something, but I just can't do that. You know, like for the store, just only order World War II stuff. And it would be easier for me, but I want to be more, I don't know, diversified, I guess. I want to have a variety. So I have ancients and fantasy and medievals, Napoleonics, American War of Independence. I got 15 millimeter, 172nd, 28 millimeter. And see, and that's the problem, because I'm not a millionaire. So I can't stock everything from every company every month. You know what I mean? So, like this month, I ordered from Warlord. And hypothetically, let's say I sell Warlord figures. Well, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to buy Old Glory, you know, or whatever. So I'm, you know, whatever my order for that month is. Oh, I am expecting an order now that I think about it. Dang, I totally forgot. I've got Perry coming in. And it's also a World War II tank. The only place I could find that model. Well, I think I could have found it from, I know I could have found it from Rubicon, but I didn't have an account at the time when I placed the order. And plus, I gave my customer a choice. I was like, okay, I found it at Perry and I found it at Rubicon. These are the prices. And the one on Warlord, because Warlord didn't have it, but I told him, I said, the one that's on Warlord, it's the wrong model. Because he wanted like the F model or the E model, or I think, I can't remember. It was one of those. Panzer III Echo, and Warlord only has the JK, L, and M and N. They don't have early war. They only have late war, which personally I don't have a problem with, because that's pretty much all I paint, or all I put together is late war stuff. So I never really ran into this problem. But he said, hey, can you get this? And I was like, well, let me see. And I looked around to all my different dealers, and I found that Perry had it and Rubicon. But I didn't have an account with Rubicon yet. I was planning on getting one. I just procrastinating. And so he said, okay, I'll take the Perry one. And I was like, okay. And then I went to my shelf and I said, oh crap, I don't have it. So what did I do? I ordered it. And I told him, I said, okay, I didn't have it. I have to order it. It's going to take a minute. And he's like, okay, that's cool. Because I don't make my customers pay until I'm finished painting. You know, it's not a pay in advance kind of service. I considered a partial payment, like going forward in the future. Like, you pay for the figures, I'll paint them, and then when I'm done, you paint for the painting service or something like that. That's what I've been thinking. But as of right now, no charge until it's complete. And then I expect payment within about 2 weeks. Because I had to put out the money for supplies, models, my time. Because while I'm doing commissions, I'm not actually painting for the store. So the store inventory, if you call it that, falls behind. Which I'm happy to do it because I know I'm going to get paid. But it does put me in a bind. And that's what's happening right now. I've got a commission that I just finished that took me a large amount of time to complete, almost 2 weeks actually. And you think about that. How much do you get paid at work for 2 weeks of work? And just imagine you didn't get paid that. You worked the 2 weeks and then they didn't pay you. I know he's going to pay because he always has in the past. He's one of my best customers. I don't have a problem. But that's why I tell my customers I expect to be paid in about 2 weeks. But yeah, it took me about 2 weeks to paint his 100 models in P dot camouflage. And I know I didn't charge him for 2 weeks worth of work because I charge by the model. And I basically gave him the generic price. You know, $6 a model is my rate. So if you extrapolate that to 100 models at $6 a piece, that's $600 for 2 weeks of work. That's a very good deal. These guys are starting to get there. Almost there. Now, when I'm painting the camouflage, I'm not concerning myself with hatches, exhaust pipes, or anything, air filters, oil caps. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm just painting the pattern. And if I need to go back and paint a spare tire or something like that, I will. Because think of this kind of like an undercoat. It's under the shovels and the pickaxes and stuff like that. Because I plan to go in and paint the shovels and pickaxes later anyway. You know, with their wood and their metal. So camo should go on pretty fast. unless you're doing like ambush pattern, which reminds me of P dot camouflage with all the little dots. There's also another pattern, I think it's called rain or something. It's got stripes, little black stripes. Looks like you're standing in the rain. That's another pattern that I hate painting. So I've got some Fallschirmjägers I've been thinking about painting. The last group of Fallschirmjägers I had was Perry. And I painted them as, oh, I don't remember the division number, but they were the ones that were in Crete. And they came out really good. I still have a couple of them on the shelf over there. I was very happy with them. So when I made this Perry order, I considered reordering those Fallschirmjägers, but I couldn't bring myself to do it financially. I gotta curb my spending because for the last year or so I've been spending more than I've been making, which is good because it built up my inventory. I've got, wonder if you can see it. You can't, maybe you can see the box right there stacked up to about there. That is I got 3 giant boxes of miniatures still in the wrapping. That's not even my painted models. Those are the ones still in the box. And that's a lot. A lot of invested money right there in those boxes. One reason why I've got this 10% off sale. If you missed it, if you came in late, Wargaming and Miniature on eBay has a big sale going on right now. The newsletter went out to customers and to subscribers. So subscribers on eBay, not YouTube. So if you want to be notified of any sales that I have, be sure to drop in on my eBay store and subscribe to me there. And you'll be notified because when I send out a newsletter, that's who I send it to. I send it to my customers, people that have bought from me in the last year, and people that have subscribed. Okay, I think I put too much brown on this guy. I think this brush was too big for what I was trying to accomplish on these tiny models. I'm switching to a finer tip brush so that I can paint in between the green. This means more trips to the palette. The experts say you should always use the largest brush possible for the job you're trying to accomplish. So never use a brush that's too small. The problem is I just used a brush that was too big. But now we're good. Now I'm getting in all those crevices and cracks, and I'm getting in between the green and not overlapping. Yeah, this one looks a lot better already, I can tell. Yeah, another thing. I'm a I'm a historical miniature gamer, like by desire, but I used to, and I still do, play fantasy games. You know, like D&D and Warhammer and stuff. I don't play Warhammer, but like Oathmark and Warlords of Erewhon. And so I took a lot of my D&D models and I put them on the store, and they're selling better than my World War II and Napoleonic stuff. I'm like, what the hell? I'm in the wrong business. Because fantasy figures are like easy to paint. I mean, easy, because there's no wrong way to do it, right? It's all imagination. Where I find when I'm painting my Napoleonics, I have to be precise. I have to know what the colors are and where they go and what the uniforms are supposed to look like. And which, don't get me wrong, I love doing that. That's part of the hobby. But when I'm trying to crank out a bunch of models for the store, it's time consuming. Like a skeleton. How hard is it to paint a skeleton? Yeah, this one looks way better. I mean, you won't be able to tell until okay, last one. Yeah, my orcs and my goblins and elves. They weren't hard at all to paint. Now I'm assuming that everybody that plays 15mm World War II plays Flames of War, right? That's what I'm assuming. But I'm telling you, I don't think that's the best set of rules. Personally, I prefer Battle Group by a large margin. But I can see the appeal of Flames of War because it reminds me of old school Warhammer with guns. You know, you got armor classes, and, or I should say, you have, not armor class, what's the word? Armor saves, 2-hit numbers, D6. You know, it's just, I don't know, it just seems easy. Okay, so now I should be able to jump onto canvas. No, dang, I keep forgetting about these. I've got to paint these. Yeah, and it's 120 already. So I'm going to open the floor to you guys that are watching. You guys have any comments? Any super chats? Any and all comments about any game, any miniature line? Feel free. I'm just opening the floor for you to say whatever you'd like. You know, if you've got a birthday coming up, you want to say it. You got somebody in the hospital and you want us to pray for them, go ahead and say it. Whatever you want to say. If you have nothing to say, that's good too. If you just want to be a lurker, like Craig. Lurker, I love lurkers. Why? Because they're here. They took the effort to show up. And I think it helps the algorithm. So who's watching The Last of Us? Any of you guys watching The Last of Us? I was gonna say something about it earlier, but then I got distracted. But I'm a big computer gamer. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I'm a big computer gamer, but I never played The Last of Us. I watched somebody play on YouTube. Um, I enjoyed his playthrough. Uh, it would have been fun to play, but since I had already watched him play it on YouTube, there was like no need for me to rush out and buy the game. And now with the TV series, I don't remember much of his playthrough. I remember a little bit. Tells you how memorable it was. No. But that gives me a new perspective, like I'm seeing it for the first time. And this actor, right? This Pedro Pascal or whatever his name is, the guy that's playing the Mandalorian, which comes out today, and then he's also in The Last of Us. So he his overall acting stock, I think, has gone up. I think he'll be getting more acting roles. Or at least I hope so, because he's good. I don't like the woke nature of the show, but I can get past that because it's good. Only one episode did they try to shove it down your throat. The rest of the time, it seems all natural, you know, like realistic, not overbearing. But on one episode, it got, I think it was episode 3 or something. It was like, really? Do we really need to watch this? Like, it was like an hour of my time, hour of my life just disappeared. It was well acted, that episode. And I understood why they needed to tell that story. I get that. But it was just so it was just so blatant. It was like no disguising it. And that's what makes it bad. Not subtle enough for me. It's too in your face. Plus, I'm a homophobe. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not. And in the latest episode, they kind of went back to being, you know, woke. But it was believable. You know, it wasn't like in your face. Even though it was kind of in your face, it wasn't aggressively in your face. You know what I mean? It was subtle, believable, and enjoyable, which is the most important thing for a TV series. Got to be enjoyable. And my fingers must have a lot of paint on them because this guy just stuck to my finger when I moved. It went flying. And where'd he go? I wish I could see more than 3 inches away from my face. Let me change my glasses. Yeah, it stuck to my finger and then pew, it was gone. And it matches the color of my carpet. Not under my feet again, is it? No? Okay. I could have swore it went right there and stopped. I don't think it bounced anywhere. Okay. Oh my lord, this turret just disappeared. How is that possible? No, it didn't jump. Okay, did it stick to something? Camouflage works. Okay, I might have to get a light out because it is kind of dark underneath there, and that's where it bounced. I was wondering, like, it flew out here. How things do. Okay, I'm getting my light out. A lot of times, the light will reveal yeah, I'm looking at the extremes now. I got my zombie killing flashlight. Wow. I know I'm blind, but dang. How the fuck? I mean, I've dropped arms and heads and stuff like that in the past. This is a whole turret, and it's just missing. And it didn't fall into the trash because I saw it hit the ground. I think I saw it hit the ground. Okay, let's look a little bit more methodically and not like super quick. Okay, it did not get stuck to the trash can. Not that it would. It was getting stuck to my fingers. There. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's two more boxes over here that I'm moving around that have miniatures in them as well. Up to me. No. If it bounced, which it could because it didn't weigh anything, it could easily bounce. Where did it bounce? Oh, this is gonna bug me. All right, well, I was planning on ending the stream as soon as I got done painting with the camouflage, which is only these two turrets left. Okay, let's get low. So what I'm saying is, I'm just going to go ahead and end the stream here. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life looking for this freaking turret. And I'm going to find it in some weird spot. I know I'm going to. Like it's going to have bounced up on top of a shelf or something. Not there. Is it going to be like... Oh, wait a second. Not under that. Okay, this is bizarre. It's like there's no place for it to go. It had to have been like right here, unless it hit the ground and bounced somewhere. Wait, didn't I have a box under there? The box go. Wow. Okay, I can't find it. So now I'm curious. Did it disappear, or did I accidentally drop it onto something? So I'm gonna build these vehicles. Okay, so it was one of the magnetized. Well, at least every vehicle's got a turret. It's just I have two magnetized turrets. Luckily, one of those turrets is what disappeared. It would have been plastic, lightweight, with a magnet on it. So it might have stuck on something that's metal. I doubt it, but it might have. nothing over there it would have stuck onto. Wait, there is something it might have stuck onto. Hang on. Oh well, it's gone. Find it next week somewhere, just laying out somewhere. Alright guys, well thanks for coming out and watching me struggle trying to find this turret, which I have no idea where it is. If I find it, I'll paint it, but otherwise, I'm going to move on, and I'll finish painting this one turret right here, and then the camouflage will be done, and I'll be moving on. But I'm not going to do that on the stream. Thanks for coming out and watching this video, and I'll see you in the next